Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in on this Sunday morning. It's a great morning outside. The weather is getting beautiful. Fall is coming in here soon. Uh, Fucking Aggies got that win yesterday. Big one, too. Kicked that ass just like we thought they would. Guys, welcome in. Welcome in. It is officially football season. High schools are playing football on Friday nights now. You got college football games going on Saturday. Most importantly, NFL regular season begins this week. Let's go. Here we go. This week, to start things off, we have the Dallas Cowboys going all the way to Tampa Bay, play Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. It's going to be a good game, man. I think it's going to be a really good opening, a season opener for the season. I can't talk this morning, guys, but I think to kick off this year, I think it's going to be a lot better game than some are predicting. The Bucks right now are technically the favorites, or 7.5-point favorites according to the current betting odds. I think that's a little high, but I think that I think I could see them covering that spread against the Cowboys. But that being said, though, I mean it's still, I'm thinking it'll be a little bit closer than that. In my heart, I want to think it's going to be closer. But usually these guys with the betting odds are pretty on. It'll probably be a 10-point game, more than likely one way or the other. It's going to be, probably in the ballpark of, 31-21 or, 35-24, something like that. I have a feeling that this game could break out and be a shootout. If you've got Dak Prescott, you're in for a treat. I think he's going to be a really good player for you this year. I think he's going to be coming along just like he was last year before the injury. It may take him a second to get back into step, get back into the full speed swing of things, but if you've got him on your fantasy team, great news for you. That being said, though, they are going in. Again, Bucks are currently favored by 7.5 points. A lot of people go, "Oh, bet the underdog because they're going to be reeling from getting their ring and the Super Bowl celebration and pregame affairs that they're gonna do." A lot of people will think, "Oh, the Bucks aren't gonna be in the right mindset to play." Believe it or not, I looked it up before this just to see 66% of the time, the team that is defending Super Bowl champs, they do win their home opener the next year. So I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with it. These guys are all professionals. They're gonna play regardless of what pregame festivities go on before this. That being said, though, we could see a slow start from the Bucks, though. It is very possible. They started off slow last year, but kind of got the ship, righted by the end of the year. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl, but they did start off a little bit slow. I kind of curious if they're going to do the same thing. They do got a lot of older guys on the team, a lot of veteran leadership that they may want to make sure can make it for the long haul. You got an extra game this season. It's a grind to get to that Super Bowl game. So we'll see. We'll see if they start off slow again and look to maybe peak around playoff time like they did last year. Now, on the other side of it, though, you do have the Cowboys coming in. They're looking to prove that they are a top team, that they are a contending team, which I do believe they are a top team and a top contending team. And a lot of people aren't really talking about them right now, which is really surprising, being the fact that I usually always hear about the Cowboys just over and over. Cowboys this, Cowboys that. It gets really fucking annoying. But that being said, though, I mean, they're not being as talked about per se as they should. I mean, obviously they were on Hard Knocks, so they did get that little bit of limelight. But I haven't heard a whole lot about them this year coming into the season, but I think that's because a lot of people are or undervaluing them per se because of how they performed last year, forgetting that Dak Prescott did suffer that crazy break of an injury on his tibia, I think, somewhere in his lower leg there. Completely snapped. It was really gruesome. We all know that. Hard Knocks, showed it to us again. It was not very pleasant. That being said, I think he's going to come back strong. He's got that mentality, man. I think he's gonna, do well. I think they're going to be looking to bounce back. You could very well see if the Bucks aren't starting off slow, if they keep right on where they were last year, which is more so what I'm thinking will happen. But there are, concerns of them starting slow. But if they don't start slow, this game has every making to be a shootout. I'm really concerned about betting the spread because I don't really. There's a lot of a lot of factors at play. Are the Bucks going to be slow to start again and, trying to peak at the right time per se? Or are they going to be, balls to the wall every week? Who cares about when you peak, when you don't peak? Are the Cowboys going to be the team they were before Dak Prescott got hurt? There's a lot of uncertainties there. So I don't know about betting the spread. I do like the over, though. The over is 51.5. So I like that because if they are both who we think they are, which is the Bucks coming in hot from last year and they're going to stay hot, then you have the Cowboys who are playing really well offensively before Dak's injury. I mean, this could, like I said, could be in the ballpark of a 31-21 point game, a 34, 21 point game. I do foresee them hitting that 51 points. I think this has the makings to be a shootout, and that's 21 on the underside, like for the losing team. I wouldn't be surprised if that losing team gets up to maybe 28, 30 points. This could be very good game. If you drafted Tampa Bay's defense in fantasy football, don't expect their performance to be like last year in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I personally don't like drafting defenses that much anyways. I usually just kind of play matchups with defense all season, pick up who we can, who's got the better matchup. Defenses don't give you enough points where it really matters to draft them or draft like a powerhouse per se. And unless you have New England from 2 years ago, and their defense was just unreal. They were scoring more than, position players. But yeah, no, that's my prediction though for the week. I think the Bucks are going to take this one. I think it's going to be final score of 35-24 to Tampa Bay Bucks. All right, now let's switch gears with the upcoming week. This is the Fantasy Lab, so we do like to talk about fantasy sports too, not just the real world sports that are going on. And I believe this week should be pretty fun. We got, opening week. Just want to go over some daily fantasy options that you may have for the week. Me personally, I like playing more so like the afternoon games where it's maybe 4 teams in it or 6 teams in it type of deal. It limits the amount of sleepers that can pop up and just, screw your chances of winning any of these big tournaments, winning some big money, things like that in the daily fantasy with DraftKings. That being said, though, like I said, you've got matchups going on all week with DraftKings. I'm hopping on myself. I've already started working on my team. I'm not going to quite submit one just yet, just because we're not quite at Thursday. I want to make sure everything is in play before I submit my rosters. We don't have no, last minute injuries, anything crazy happening at practice or, crazy news, things breaking every day. But yeah, no, I generally, like I said, like to stay with those afternoon games, but we're going to look at it as if we're picking for the whole weekend. I'll make a team and I'll post it up on my socials on Thursday. Let you guys know what I'm rocking for the week. We'll see how this goes. You guys let me know what daily lineups y'all are rolling out too. See how you guys are doing. All right. This week we'll start with the QBs. I mean, it's pretty straightforward here. On the QBs, like which ones like you got to take if you can afford them in your salary cap. Like if your strategy plays out to where you can get these QBs, obviously Patty Mahomes, he's the most expensive QB in daily fantasy. He doesn't need an explanation, but I wouldn't necessarily kill your budget on him. Because if you do, you're not going to get those points from those other top position players, and that's where those points really matter. It's going to be where they really matter is going to be your top position players, as well as 1 or 2 of your sleepers going off. That's whenever you really start winning big money in these daily fantasies. Everybody's going to have Christian McCaffrey. Everybody's going to have Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's going to have these big guys. Do you have the guys in between that people don't pick that's going to propel you up into those big money spots? That's where it really comes down to in these daily fantasies if you're going to win some money, or big money, that is. You can win money with a good roster where your sleeper doesn't go off. But, to put in $1 or something like that and win, $150 on DraftKings, you got to have a sleeper. Excuse me. So definitely Patty Mahomes but I mean, he's going to kill your budget. That's the only thing I worry about with him. But if you can make it work, get him, Guy that is going to be a little bit pricey as well for the QBs, but wouldn't be a bad pick this week would be Aaron Rodgers going into New Orleans, technically not into New Orleans due to Ida. I hope everybody, thoughts out to everybody, in the way of Ida this past week. But due to that, New Orleans now, their home game has now become a neutral site game. That neutral site game is going to be held in Jacksonville. I was really hoping it would be here in Dallas. I was really looking forward to go seeing Aaron Rodgers play in Dallas maybe one last time. I don't know if he's going to be playing with the Packers next year. So it was kind of my opportunity to go see him. A little bummed that didn't work out, but hey, it is what it is. They went to Jacksonville instead. Not quite sure why. I'm sure they would have sold way more tickets in Dallas. Feel like that's more of a home game for New Orleans in Dallas because you have a lot of New Orleans fans that live here. A lot of people forget about Katrina that happened, 16 years. I think it was 16 years ago. They said a lot of people that were refugees from Katrina relocated to Dallas area. A lot of Saints fans. We've got a very big Saints population in the DFW area. So that being said, I don't know why they didn't relocate it to Jerry World. It seemed like it would have only made sense. Surprising, there's a big Packers fan base down here as well. Obviously, I'm a Packers fan. I think they would have sold that out in a heartbeat, and it doesn't make sense to me on why they sent it to Jacksonville. But nonetheless, Jacksonville will get to witness what a winning QB looks like this week in Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to be a great pickup for you guys in daily fantasy. New Orleans is basically spiraling at this point. They are on the brink of possibly having to commit to a rebuild if this Jameis Winston situation on the QB side doesn't work out for them. Their secondary is not great. This is a neutral site game. Rodgers is going to light up the score sheet here. I think this is going to be a big game for the Packers. Unless, there is the potential, though, that the Saints come in and they play for their city that just was hit by a very big hurricane in the past week. And when people are playing for something, I mean, it's crazy what they can do. Again, thoughts out to those affected by the hurricane. Moving on, Russell Wilson. He's my number 3 pick here for the QBs if you can afford him in daily fantasy with your other picks. He's going to be facing a team without a starting QB in Indianapolis. More than likely going to not have their starting QB, which means that they're probably going to be looking to put the pressure on quick. They're going to want to get up, 2-3 scores real quick in the game, which means it's probably going to be a very heavy passing attack to start the game. They're not going to be afraid to put their defense back on the field per se, just because the other team's offense is going to be with other quarterbacks. Therefore, look for a high-tempo offense, very big chance to fill the fill the stat sheet for Russell Wilson to this weekend, coming up next weekend in Indianapolis. All right, so now this is like the next tier of QBs. These are more so like the guys you could probably get if you get like a really good position player elsewhere. Like if you were to get like a top running back, top receiver, something like that. With the salary cap, as everybody knows, DraftKings caps you at a certain amount, but each player's valued at a certain bit. You got to use up use no more than the money allotted to make your team. A little bit of businessmanship that goes into it, you could say. That being said, though, the next second tier, this is like your second tier QBs. And I just realized my graphics hadn't been coming as we're talking about them, but we got our second, mid-tier QBs this week. That being said, the first on the list, I think it's a little bit of a gamble with this guy, but I do think that this is going to pay off dividends to whoever does take that gamble on him. If you can get Jalen Hurts on your daily fantasy squad this weekend, I think this is going to be a great bargain for you for the potential upside that he has. He's going into a great opening week matchup he's got a new coach who's offensive minded with Nick Sirianni. I think he's going to get a lot of big plays in the air as well as on the ground. He's going to contribute in all aspects from ground game to airing it out. Expect a big game from Jalen. This is going to be a good test for him, good display of his ability, and I don't think he's going to disappoint. He's been looking good in the preseason so far, so a little bit different when you go up against first-team talent all the time, but I think this is going to be a good one. He's got a great matchup with Atlanta's terrible secondary. Second on this mid-tier list, per se, that I believe you got to get as long as he can clear protocol, and that's going to be Ryan Tannehill. Obviously, I believe he's in the COVID protocol right now, but he is at home against Arizona this week. This game really has all the makings of a shootout in place. You've got a lights-out offense on one side with Arizona having Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, the ability for Kyler Murray to also get out and run. I believe they also got AJ Green on the receiver core over there, so they're going to be putting up a lot of points, which in turn the Titans are going to have to also match. With the addition of Julio Jones and AJ Brown, and I think you're going to get a big bang for your buck with Ryan Tannehill this week. So Ryan Tannehill, keep a lookout for him. My last mid-tier QB that I think has a lot of upside just simply due to his matchup this week's got to be Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, this is his first game. I like the rookie QBs. As you can see, I've picked 2 of them for these mid-tier QBs, but I think both of them have really, really good potential for a big game to start their career, just simply because of who they're playing. Trevor Lawrence is going to Houston. Houston is a dumpster fire right now, an absolute shit show down there. I mean, varsity QB could probably go down there and have a good game. It's a stretch, I know, but that's how they're awful down there. Trevor Lawrence will go in. Expect him to have a good game. He's going to get his career off to the right start with this game here. I think that those 3 QBs, Jalen Hurts, Ryan Tannehill, Trevor Lawrence, you can get them for a good bargain price in your daily fantasy picks with DraftKings there, but just make sure that you fill out your other positions solid as well, though, because there is some potential for a little bit of downside if things don't go quite as planned with them, but I think there's some upside with them. Now, also in regards to the quarterback, somebody that's kind of been flying under the radar, just kind of more so a guy that hasn't been getting the respect that I feel he deserves this offseason. And this is this week's sleeper alert here, and that's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. He's more than likely going to get the week 1 start from what I'm hearing. Dude can still ball. He's got weapons to throw to. He is going to be cheap as fucking daily fantasy. Cheap. Very cheap. Due to this, you're going to get a lot of production for the value, and then you're going to be able to boost maybe your running backs, get 2 top running backs or 2 top receivers or something for the week. He will be cheap, and he's going up against the Detroit Lions. That right there says it. He's going to play like his job depends on it, because it does. Get Jimmy G. He's like in the 5,000 range right now for a QB on daily fantasy. He will be your sleeper this week if you want to load up on some other positions versus loading up at the QB position in daily fantasy this week. Switching gears, we're going to go into the top running backs here for week 1. Actually, before we run into the top running backs, so QBs that you guys may want to stay away from, I forgot to mention these ones. First on my list is going to be Justin Herbert. I know a lot of people are high on Justin Herbert. I am too. I think he's going to have a great year. That being said, he is going to play a tough defense this week against Washington. He's got Chase Young and other swarming threats coming in, trying to sack him. He's in a brand new offense. I'm staying away from him this week. 2 other QBs that I'm also staying away from in daily fantasy is going to have to be Tua and Mac Jones. This will not be a Bama celebration. This will not be a Bama shootout. This will not be a Bama anything. This will be a defensive struggle of coaches. The coaches will slow the pace down. There's going to be barely any offense. Don't expect a lot of offensive production. These QBs, stay the hell away from them in daily fantasy this week. It's going to be a very slow-paced game. All right. I'm going to switch gears. I can go top-tier running backs this week. This probably goes without saying every week. If you can get Christian McCaffrey, you got to get him, man. He's goes up against the goddamn Jets this week, and they are goddamn awful. He's got the potential to essentially have a career game against the Jets because of how terrible they are. He's out to prove that he's still got it. He's bouncing back from injury last year. He's gonna still have it. He's gonna have the complement of a better QB there with Sam Darnold. Take a little bit of pressure off the run game per se. They're gonna get him involved in the passing game like they always do. You can't not pick him. Can't not pick him. I don't care the price. Get Christian McCaffrey this week. He's got the best matchup you could ever have. If you don't pick him, you're losing this week in daily fantasy. You will not place high because everybody else is going to get him, and they're going to get all the points from him. All right. Second, must get for daily fantasy if you can afford to get him, if you want to throw him in there. This can be Gus Edwards-Helaire out of Kansas City. The Chiefs are going to light up the scoreboard this weekend. He's going to have plenty of scoring chances. straight out the gate. They're going to get a lot of goal line looks. He's going to be getting involved in the pass game, the run game. Patrick Mahomes really just opens everything else up for the run game by how good of a passer he is. I expect them to go in and fully manhandle the Browns. So I think he's a must pick for this week. My third must get for daily fantasy this week. As much as it kills me to say, I hate to do this because I hate to pick against my own team and the Packers. But you got to grab Alvin Kamara going into Green Bay. Green Bay's run defense has never been anything special the past couple of years. It has been the sole reason why they have not been able to go past the NFC Championship game the past 2 years. They are abysmal at stopping the run. That being said, Kamara is about the only good thing that's in this offense right now. Expect for him to try and take a lot of pressure off Jameis Winston this weekend. As Jameis is going to have his hands full with the Packers secondary. That is one thing that the Packers defense does excel in, is their secondary skill level per se. That being said, their run defense not so much. Kamara's going to take a lot of pressure off that offense for them by attacking the run defense. Moving on though, from those top guys, mid-tier guys that you may be looking to fill. Maybe you get one of these top guys, you maybe try and fill one of these other guys in while also getting like a good receiver. First on it is going to be a good bargain running back. That's going to be Gus Edwards this week. He's going to be getting the lead touches. Everybody knows the situation with J.K. Dobbins now done for the year. He's got a great matchup in Las Vegas. He's going to get a lot of early down touches to try and relieve some pressure off of Lamar Jackson. Gus Edwards going to have a good year this year, and right now he's very undervalued because people don't quite know how well he will perform and what that ceiling is yet, but expect it to be changing here soon. Second on that second tier list got to be Ronald Jones, the second with Tampa Bay. I think he's just going to be a solid pick. He's going up against the Cowboys defense, who, while always on paper seems to look good, doesn't always seem to fare the same in the actual games. He's and also too, I think the Cowboys are going to try and focus on limiting Tom Brady, slowing down the passing attack, and that's going to allow the run game to open up. Now, if you're looking for another type of sleeper here, somebody you can get really cheap, somebody that I'm actually kind of looking forward to watch, and we got another sleeper alert with old Damian Harris of the Patriots. This dude's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get a lot of early touches. He's the lead back in a run-leaning offense. He's going to be looking to take some pressure off of Mac Jones. It's going to be a very low-tempo game. They're going to run the ball a lot, try and keep Miami's offense off the field, keep Patriots' defense rested, because it's not going to be a high-scoring affair. That being said, while he may not necessarily have the scoring upside, he may possibly punch in one touchdown if they get any type of like goal line opportunities or anything like that, or something from the red zone. I'm expecting him though to have at least 80 yards, which for the value that they are putting him at, I think that's a good pick for you there in daily fantasy, so that way you could stack up some other top talent and get some contribution from your sleeper there. Moving on, we've got our mid-level, or wait, not our mid-level. We got our top-level wide receivers to cap things off here. We're going to talk about the receivers for this week in daily fantasy. My number one receiver this week, I think he's going to be the number one receiver for the season, let alone week one, and that's going to be Devonte Adams. They're going into New Orleans, or technically Jacksonville, and he is going to be looking to have a field day with this team that is spiraling, like we discussed earlier. Secondary is not great. Also, too, we talked about Aaron Rodgers lighting up the scorecard. Well, hang on, light up the scorecard, throwing to the fifth string receiver. He's going to be throwing to Devonte Adams. I expect a big game from him. He's going to be the number one receiver this weekend in football. You watch. Number two on my list for these top-tier receivers got to be Calvin Ridley. Dude, if you can get Calvin Ridley, he's got a decent price tag on him, nothing too crazy. I think we're going to see a shootout between Philly and Atlanta possibly. With no longer having Julio in town, Calvin's going to be getting the bulk of the targets. He's going to get at least 10 targets. I expect a 100-yard game from him as well, possibly a touchdown. That could be very well the case for him. Number three on this list, Stefan Diggs, man. I think him and Josh Allen are going to pick right back up where they left off last year. And they've got a very favorable matchup. They're playing against the Steelers. Steelers are not the same Steelers they were 5 years ago. This team with the Bills is a great team, possible Super Bowl contenders this year. Stefan Diggs is going to be an elite receiver. I think he will give Devonte Adams a run for his money for receiver of the year, or top receiver of the year. So number 3, you got to get him if you can afford him on there, and that's going to be Stefan Diggs. You pick him up. Moving on to the mid-tier receivers that we got here. This guy right here, he's going to be somebody that's going to provide a lot of upside for the price that you're going to be able to get him. That's going to be Robbie Anderson. He's going into a revenge game against his former team. The Jets are terrible. They're god-awful. They should replace the Jets with Alabama and let them fucking play in the NFL and let the Jets go play in college. This is going to be a big game for Robbie Anderson. He's going to be out to stick it to his old team, for one, and 2, he's already got chemistry with his quarterback at his new team. Him and Sam Darnold both came from the Jets to Carolina. They are going to smash. I think Robbie Anderson is going to have a big game, and he's going to be a good price. Number 2 here, going to be Jerry Jeudy. Dude, man, with Teddy Bridgewater throwing to him, he's going to get a lot of versatility, which is going to have to keep the Giants on their toes. The Giants already have a terrible defense, but then they're going to have to also deal with a mobile quarterback. I don't see this going well for the Giants. This is going to be leading to some big scoring plays. I expect a big scoring play downfield for Jerry Jeudy in this game. Pick up Jerry Jeudy. Number 3, and this is the only part of the Houston Texans lineup that I like, the only part that is not in complete shambles, that's going to be Brandon Cooks. He's the only part of the Houston lineup that is currently worth playing. He's got Tyrod Taylor in the backfield. He's going to be looking to target him often against, a shitty Jags secondary. So they could be looking to try and keep pace with Trevor Lawrence on the other side. Expect a lot of targets for Brandon Cook. And now, sleeper of this week for the receivers. We got one last sleeper alert here before we switch out of the fantasy world. And that sleeper in the receiver category is going to be DJ Chark. He plays with the Jags, and they're going to play Houston. Again, Houston, absolute abysmal team. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst team in the league this year. And Trevor Lawrence is going to be looking to attack that. And DJ has become one of his top targets at his team. His price is so low that you could grab him, grab Devonte Adams and Christian McCaffrey, and probably still fill out a decent team. He is who you want on here this weekend because he's going to free up for maybe if you want to go grab a Patty Mahomes at QB this week, you can go do that. Look at this guy. His value is not going to be like this in daily fantasy for long. Get it while it lasts. All right, guys. Switching out of the world of fantasy, we're going back into the real world of sports. We mentioned earlier, the Cowboys are going to be traveling to take on the defending Super Bowl champs, and makes everybody start wondering, this is the time of the year where we start going, well, time to make those predictions. Who will be the winner of the Super Bowl this year? Who's taking home the Lombardi Trophy? We will see, obviously, right? We're going to see who that is. Me personally, I will get to my pick soon, but we're going to start breaking it down. We're going to start with each division. Who's going to win each division? Then we'll go into who we see as potential Super Bowl candidates and who ultimately I think will bring home that Lombardi Trophy. All right. So we're going to start with the easiest division to predict in all of football this year, and that's going to be the AFC East. You have the Bills. They're going to take it home, no doubt about it. There's not another team that's anywhere near the caliber of team that they are. The Patriots are improving, but Mac Jones is not at the point where he's going to take them to an East title this year. I think the breakdown on this one is going to be first place going to be the Bills. Second place, you're going to have the Patriots. Miami's going to get third, which is going to be another disappointing year for the Miami Dolphins fans. I do apologize to all of them, especially old Dolphin Daddy out there. He knows who I'm talking about. He's one of my buddies. Likes to refer to himself as that. That being said, though, Miami's going to have a disappointing year again. I don't think Tua was the answer. I don't think they should have drafted Tua. Number 4 is going to be Jets. Obviously, they are probably going to be one of the worst, if not the worst teams in the league. They're going to give Houston a good run for their money on who's getting the number 1 pick next year. So pretty self-explanatory in that conference. East is going to be won by the Bills. Now, the AFC West, this one is a very easy prediction on who's going to get number 1. We all know who's going to win this division. That's going to be Kansas City, barring nothing happens to Patty Mahomes. As long as he stays good, this team will win the West. Now, where things get a little bit tougher in this division is who's going to get that second spot. You've got the Chargers, who are up and coming with new offense, new quarterback. Justin Herbert looks great. Got a new coach with new offensive scheme there. Then you've got the Broncos, who were also playing very well last year. You got the Raiders, who also seem to be on the upward trend as well. It's a little bit tougher figuring out that second. I couldn't decide if it would be a Chargers-Broncos deal, but I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers will get second place, and they could very well possibly be a wild card team that we see, one of the 3 wild cards. And then the Broncos, I'm going to have at third spot. Again, if they could possibly slide up into that second spot, could possibly see them as a wild card team. I'm not quite sure. If they, I could see them being a wild card as well, though, just due to the fact of, not really sure where else the other wild cards would be coming from. Now, over in obviously the Raiders would be 4th in that division as well. Now, switching over to the AFC North, man, this top spot, it's one of those that could seem to go either way. The Browns are continuously improving. Baker's continuously getting better. Nick Chubb looks great out of the backfield. Their defense is not terrible. They could very well win the division. Then you have the Ravens, who are looking to bounce back from their performance from last year. I think they will. I think that Lamar Jackson has the ability to bring this team to, great heights. I don't quite think it's Super Bowl, but it could be possibly a North title. I don't think it's going to be this year, though. I do think that we will get a wild card from this division as well, though. I think whoever doesn't get the number 1 spot is going to be whoever gets that number 2 will be the wild card. You see, though, I think it's going to be Browns first. I think they're going to take the division. No knock on the Ravens. They're a great team. I just think the Browns are continuously improving, and I think they're going to be at the point where they are ready to take this division over and run the division for probably, foreseeable couple years. Number 2, I see as the Ravens. Obviously, we just talked about them. I think they're going to be a great pick for this year. I think they could win the division too. I don't see it happening, but it could happen. They're not going to win the division. I do think they will be a wild card team, though. I don't see the Ravens not making the playoffs. I think the Browns are just going to be too good to edge out for the actual North title. Now, AFC South, this is a super top-heavy division as well. We may possibly see a third wild card team out of this spot. The third wild card may go to one of these teams. That being said, it really depends on kind of like how healthy Carson Wentz stays throughout the year, how well he adapts with the Colts. While at the same time as possibly producing obviously they're going to have a division winner, but also producing a wild card team out of this division. The other 2 teams have the potential to be the worst 2 teams in the league, have the 2 worst records in the league. And that's going to be the Jags and the Texans. They're awful. The Titans and Colts have gotten a nice division. They really only have to edge out each other to be able to win it. They know that there's no chance that the Jags or Texans are performing better than them this year. I think that the Titans are going to win it. I just have a lot of concerns with Carson Wentz staying durable all year. And then I think that with the addition of Julio Jones in Tennessee, I don't see that team getting worse because of that. Titans are going to be number 1. Colts are going to be number 2, and probably that third wild card spot as long as Carson stays healthy. Carson doesn't stay healthy, then the Titans are 100% going to win this division, and there will be no wild cards from this spot, and they'll be lucky if they have more than one team over 500 for the season. Switching over to the NFC, I think that we'll start again with the easiest to predict here. I think the easiest one to predict the winner of is going to be the NFC South. I don't see any other teams being up to the caliber as Tampa Bay Bucks right now. They're defending Super Bowl champs. They didn't have to lose a player. They brought everybody back. They're not rebuilding. They're reloading this year. They're coming for it again. they're going to win the South. Now, you may see a potential wild card from this one as well, though, because while I don't think these teams are quite at the Bucs level, I do think that they may. I do think the Panthers may be able to edge out a possible wild card spot, depending on how well Sam Darnold adapts to that offense. But the way I get the South playing out, you get the Bucs, Panthers, Saints, and Falcons. Falcons probably going to be looking to rebuild here pretty soon. Matt Ryan's getting towards the end of his shelf life. It's that time. Switching over to the NFC North, man, it would be treason if I said anybody other than the Green Bay Packers are going to win this division. Whether or not it would be a close race or not, they're winning it. Packers all day long, baby. Go Pack, go. They're winning the North. No doubt about it. I think Chi-Town, the Chicago Bears, going to give them a little bit of a run for their money if they can figure it out. I think if they can get Andy Dalton out of there and get Justin Fields in there and stop fucking around, they'll have a lot better chance. If they keep Andy Dalton in there, though, they don't have a chance at winning this division. So I'm giving Chicago the second place. Third, I'm going to give the Vikings, man. I don't foresee them doing any better than last year. They did nothing to improve in the offseason, in my opinion. Kirk Cousins is absolutely dog water at throwing the football. Number 4, Detroit Lions. While they did make a trade in the offseason, I don't think that trade makes them any better. They swapped the same style of player for the same style of player at the same caliber level. All they did was just take a disgruntled player and move him and receive a disgruntled player and put him into a better situation for both players. Maybe the quarterbacks perform better at their new teams because of the change of scenery. Maybe not. But I don't think that it's going to be good enough for the Lions to get out of the basement of the North. They will be the last place team for yet another year in the North. However, Chicago could very well, they will get second in this division, and they very well could get a wild card spot. Like I said, they got to figure it out. They'll get Justin Fields in there, get him throwing the ball, get Andy Dalton out. Andy Dalton's not going to be the one to take you to the Super Bowl. He's not going to be the one to take you probably to the playoffs. Get your guys some experience. Stop fucking around. Let's go. NFC West, dude, this division, it was this way last year too. It'll be this way this year, and probably for the foreseeable future until Russell Wilson retires. And yeah, the NFC West is probably the hardest one to predict. Who are you picking to win a division out of the Cardinals, Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams? Literally every single one of those teams could win the division. Every single one of them. I'm giving the edge to the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to take home the division. I think the Seahawks, I think they got too much shit to figure out. Had a little bit of offseason drama, which kind of shook some things up. They're going into the season, obviously, with Russell Wilson still playing very well, but not top of his prime Russell Wilson. Kyler Murray is starting to develop into the player that he will be for the foreseeable future. You're going to see a lot of passing from him and a lot of running from him. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 4,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing from Kyler Murray this season, which is 100% why I'm giving the Cardinals the edge on this. Number 2 in this division, I've definitely got the Seahawks. I think that they're going to, while I say that Russ Wilson is not in his prime anymore, he's not. I'm not knocking him at any point. He's still one of the best QBs in the league. I took him in one of my fantasy leagues this year. So, I mean, they're going to be there. And then third, I've got the 49ers. Even if they decide to not roll with Jimmy G or he gets hurt, Trey Lance is going to come in and perform just well. I don't think they're going to perform well enough to get past the Seahawks Cardinals, though. But I do think that they'll play better than the Rams. Rounding out the division, I do have the Rams. Again, they didn't really do anything in the offseason to get better. They did make a trade. They got a disgruntled player and put him in a position that maybe he's going to be a happier player, so maybe play better. We'll see. But at the same time, while these teams may not win the division, you very well could see 2 wildcard teams come from this division. That it is a possibility. I would be very surprised if it's all 3, if every single team makes it and all 3 wildcards go to this division. But I would not be surprised. I know it's probably going to be more so 2 from this division, though. Seahawks, 49ers are probably going to steal one of those or steal two of those wild card spots this year. This is definitely the toughest division in football, the NFC West. Toughest division. Let's see. Moving on, the East. We've got this one. Man, it's a tough one to figure out. Not because all the teams are like the toughest teams. It's because they're all so fucking average. Who do you pick to win? Who do you pick to win this? There's definitely not going to be a wild card team from this division. There will be only one team go to the playoffs from this division. It's whoever wins it. And they will probably be a just over 500 team that gets to host a playoff game. It's absolutely ridiculous, but that's the way the playoffs work in NFL football. I kind of like it, but just because of the absurdity of some of the teams that get to make it. But that being said, though, this division, I think the Cowboys are going to take it. Dak Prescott, as long as he stays healthy all year, they win the division last year. I think that's going to be the same case this year. I think it's second, though. You're going to see the Eagles come in as long as Jalen performs as well as everybody's thinking he will. Washington, I don't think they're going to have enough Fitz magic to get it done. They do have a great defense, which will keep them in a lot of ball games, which may, score them a couple wins. And then fourth, the Giants. The Giants would be lucky to win 5 games this season, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to be very good. They're going to be awful. They went downhill as soon as they decided to draft Danny Dimes. I don't know who was a part of that decision or why they made that decision, but awful decision. Nonetheless, though, just to kind of round things up, these are going to be the guys that I see in the playoffs on the AFC side, and that's going to be the Bills. They're winning their division. The Chiefs are going to win theirs. The Browns will win theirs. The Titans will win their division. And then your 3 wildcard teams, I think, are going to be the Ravens, Patriots, and the Chargers. I think Mac Jones is going to do just good enough to squeak them in with that 3rd spot. I think the Ravens are going to do good enough to not win their division, but come very close, which is also going to get them in on the wild card spot. And then the Chargers, they are in the unfortunate scenario that they play in a division with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're basically playing for the wild card as soon as they start. Obviously, they're not going in with that mentality, but from a fan perspective, they're playing for the wild card. Now, on the NFC side of things, obviously, and AFC, number 1 seed, I think is going to be the Bills. I think the Chiefs will be up there, but I think the Bills have an easier schedule just simply due to their division, that they will be the number 1 seed. All right. Switching over to the NFC side. Like we talked about a minute ago, Green Bay is definitely going to be the one to win the North. I also think they'll be the number 1 seed this year. I think their schedule and who they play in their division 2 times a year is going to help them to get more wins. Number 2 is going to be Tampa. I think they play in a weak enough division where they're going to get wins from, playing all those teams 2 times. Having your division be weak really helps you with seeding. If you can play 2 weak teams 4 times in a season, you could possibly guarantee yourself 4 wins. It's a big deal in football, in professional football, those 4 wins. Number 3 seed, I'm going to have to give to the Cowboys. I think they're going to come in. They're going to win their division for sure. And then number 4, Cardinals, they're going to win their division, but that's going to be where I'm taking their seeding. The wild card teams that I foresee coming from the NFC, like we talked about the 2 coming from out in the West, the Seahawks, 49ers, they're going to be a wild card team for sure. That 3rd one is a little bit more up in the air, but I'm foreseeing it being Chicago, as long as they keep shit on track and they get Andy Dalton out of there and start Justin Fields by week 3 or 4. And lastly, not least, man, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who is the prediction of win the Super Bowl this year? Man, as much as I hate to say it and I don't want to jinx it or anything like that, but I think that this year we have everything that's necessary to win it. And I'm going to rock with my team. I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers will be hoisting that Lombardi trophy this year, boys. They have everything they need to win this year. They got to do it this year, though, because there may be no more years with Aaron Rodgers after this. They've made the conference championship 2 years in a row. This is the last dance, guys. They've got to do it. They're going to win it. I'm going all in. Packers winning the Super Bowl this year. You guys drop a comment in the link or in the comment section. Let me know who y'all think is gonna win. Yeah. If you haven't already, guys, make sure that you guys like and subscribe the channel. I appreciate everybody that's been checking in on the show so far, been tuning in. I have been seeing, some of the views coming in, and I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate everybody that's been checking out this little show hobby of mine. It is a lot of fun doing. We just hit 1,000 views across all of our videos this week on YouTube, so that's a huge milestone. I didn't think we would get there within a month. That's super awesome. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in so far. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I do post videos throughout the week, different breakdowns, different things that I'm thinking about throughout the week. If y'all want to keep up with it, then subscribe to the channel. Let's keep this thing going, guys. As always, thank y'all for tuning in, and peace.